Good evening, friends. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. I just pray that you were able to join with us this morning in worship service, either in person or online. I know I do this every week, but I'm going to continue to remind you that those services are available on our Facebook page, and you can go back and if you missed those, you can watch those and you can share those with your friends and family. And as I've mentioned before, if you do not have Facebook, you can still do a search for that on Google, and you can still find those videos, watch them. Facebook will try to get you to sign up, but you don't have to do that. You just X out of that, go down our page, and you can find those videos. If you need help with that, you can reach out to us, and I will try to help you, either to send you some instructions or see if we can show you how to do that. Just a wonderful blessing that we have, and we need to make sure that we take full advantage of that. And if you were with us in our services this morning, you know that probably it was mentioned that after our services, we had a little recognition today for our two graduating seniors, Jolene Beatty and Austin Applegate. Both of those very smart young people, and been involved in just a lot of good academic stuff throughout high school. I think Jolene was on the academic team for about 7 years. Band for Austin. Of course, both of them have been involved in many good things throughout their high school careers, and we just continue to pray that that they will stay on the path and they will let God lead them down that road and help them. We know that we're going to have struggles, and those of us that have become adults and dealt with that, we know that you're going to face trials and tribulations, and we just pray that they'll continue to stay on the right path. Just keep those young people in mind, and if you'd like to send them a gift, you can drop that off here at the church, or get in touch with them. But I'm sure that they would greatly appreciate it. Now, as for the message that I'm going to share with you today, I came across a very interesting article. I know that many of you know, if you've been watching my devotionals for quite a while, that I'm very interested in history, and I came across a very interesting article this past week. It was about this man named Elmer Bendiner. He was in World War II. He was a B-17 navigator, and I'm just going to have to read the story to you to make sure that I get it right. It says that in the thick of the war against the Nazis, one of the most incredible stories unfolded. Bendiner explains our B-17, the Tondileo, was barraged by a flak of Nazi anti-aircraft guns. That was not unusual, but on this particular occasion, their gas tanks were hit. He says, later, as I reflected on the miracle of the 20 millimeter shell piercing the fuel tank without touching off an explosion, our pilot, Bon Fakes, told me it was not quite that simple. So he goes on, and he says, on the morning following the raid, Bon had gone down to ask our crew chief for that shell as a souvenir of the unbelievable luck. The crew chief told Bon that not just one shell, but 11 had been found in the gas tanks. 11 unexploded shells, where only one was sufficient to blast us out of the sky, he says. It was as if the sea had been parted for us. Even after 35 years, so awesome an event leaves me shaken, especially after I heard the rest of the story from Bon. And he goes on to share the story with us. He said he was told that the shells had been sent to the armorers to be defused. The armorers told him that intelligence had picked them up. They could not say why at the time, but Bon eventually sought out the answer. Apparently, when the armorers opened each of those shells, they found no explosive charge. They were clean as a whistle and just as harmless. Empty. Not all of them. One contained a carefully rolled piece of paper. On it was something written, some writing in Czech. The intelligence people scoured our base for a man who could read Czech. Eventually, they found one to decipher the note. It set us marveling, he says. Translated, the note read, "This is all we can do for you now." You see, these Czech people that had been forced by the Nazis to produce these shells had found a way, just some small little thing that seemed like nothing, saying, "This is all we can do for you now." Just a small thing. But what did it mean to the people whose lives they saved that day by that small act that they took upon themselves? Again, seeming like nothing. But what did it seem to those people that were spared? What did it seem to those people, the family of Bendiner, who was able to come home and to be able to see his family again? His life could have come to an end of that day, but that small act of kindness by those Czech people forced into labor It was a thing that saved their life. Now, to me, that is an encouragement. If you heard my lesson this morning, you know I shared a story of a man who received a house-to-house, heart-to-heart in the mail. He was living in South Dakota, had no background whatsoever in either him or his wife in the church, but from that one small piece of paper, it sent him down a road to which he would obey the gospel eventually, and now is a gospel preacher. Just small acts can lead to great things at times. I've heard of people who were near to committing suicide when a phone rings and it's some voice from the past, it's some dear friend, some dear loved one that just calling to make a check on them, and that call just comes in just at the right time. How many do you suppose, though, have gone the other way, where the person has gone ahead and gone through with the act, and their friends may have looked back, they may have recognized that they were struggling, their family members, maybe even people that sat with them on the pews at church recognized that something was going on and wished that they could have that time back to just take that small amount of time to reach out, to send a note, a card, or make a phone call to check on that person. Small acts of kindness add up many times to something great. Paul says in Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9, "And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not lose heart." And in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 58, "Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that our labor is not in vain in the Lord." And friends, that is a line that sums it up. When we are working for the Lord and we're doing things out of the love of Christ, we're showing the love of Christ to our fellow man, whatever labor that may be, it may seem like there's nothing coming from it, but the Bible promises us that our labor in the Lord is not in vain, and we will reap if we do not lose heart. Think of the ones that you could touch. Think of the lives that you could touch. But not only that, think of your own life and your eternal soul. It's what God expects. It's what He's shown for us. Many, many acts of kindness, and He expects the same for us. Friends, I just pray that you'll take these thoughts with you as you go into this week, as you go to the stores, the banks, the restaurants, wherever it might be, showing small acts of kindness. Do it for Christ. Reach out to your friends that you know might be struggling. Reach out to your loved ones that you know might be struggling. Look for just small acts of kindness that you can pass on to the world. And I believe that we can make a difference and that this world can be a better place. Just want to thank you once again for tuning in, and I pray that you have a blessed week.